Orphan. This is a premise that we usually see in like terrible PG-13 horror movies, disguised as a big, sophisticated, terrifying, R-rated horror movie. When I think when it comes down to it, it's really not all that much better. But, this was a very interesting movie. Very, very interesting movie for me. Because, really, I watched it last night and really unsure if I liked it or not. I had so much fun going back and forth, saying, you know what, this movie's pretty good. Then, oh my god, this movie sucks. Just back and forth. And I'm watching, I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm enjoying this movie or not. But the last 10 minutes are horrible, so then I'm just like, you know what, this movie really isn't very good. An R-rated horror movie, I'm a fan of the Saw series. I really am not that easily disturbed. But, the thing with the Saw series is I think there is some sort of intellect driving the violence. It's a game, it's a mind game. It's somewhat complex. It makes you think, you're rooting for the person to get out, sometimes at least. There's more to it than that. But when it comes to this movie, when it comes to a mentally disturbed child, suffocating other children, breaking their legs, harming herself, it eventually reaches a point where there's just really no sort of entertainment to it. Unless there's really something driving it, you to root for something. And this movie really doesn't have a strong story, and I think that's the big problem, to where when there's really not a really strong story driving this kind of stuff, it just comes off as disturbing, and it kind of makes the filmmakers look like idiots. And there is, this movie's messed up. It is. The people don't really seem very realistic. Peter Sarsgaard, one of my favorite actors, his character was such a moron. He completely betrays his wife and just completely turns against his wife and doesn't believe a thing she says and just thinks this little girl's like an angel from heaven. And of course they have like this little deaf girl that really just increases the depression level of this movie. But, this little 5-year-old deaf girl is the bravest 5-year-old in the history of human existence. Mother, I forgot the dang lady's name, but she was in The Departed, and she got banged by Matt Damon, I believe. There was a lot of depth into her character. I think the lady overacted a lot, and the character got a wee bit annoying. But, they did a good job, decent writing, a lot of depth into that character. And, she was alright. Her character was alright. But the rest, especially the father, in the end, it just gets ludicrous. This movie gets absolutely ridiculous near the end. Throughout, I would say the movie for the most part is well-paced. It's not like she just comes home and all of a sudden she starts killing people. It's alright. There is some somewhat tension and suspense there. But it eventually just gets absolutely preposterous and just very, very, very stupid, where there's just absolutely nothing driving it anymore, and it's just this girl going nuts with absolutely no point behind it. So I didn't hate this movie. I definitely liked some of it, but in the end, it's just stupid. It's stupid and disturbing. So, it's okay, it's an alright rental where you and your friends can kind of just make fun of it, but other than that, there's really nothing really to enjoy. So I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. Whatever Works, the latest film by Woody Allen, and I gotta say, I think this is a big miss for Woody Allen. The film feels very dated. It feels like a film that Woody Allen would have released, I don't know, a good 30 years ago. It's almost as if he didn't really have any ideas and just felt like he had to release a movie because he's been releasing one every single year. So, he called up Larry David and just pulled some old tricks and kind of just made up stuff as he went. There's really just nothing here. Liked Larry David's character some of the time. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, the pessimism and anger of his character was really overdone, really over the top. Stuff in his character, some funny things. I think Larry David did the best they could. Some stuff like that, little things here and there, what I liked about this movie. Every single other character except for Larry David was very annoying, overly quirky, and unlikable. Almost nothing in this movie feels real. For the most part, it is just really over-the-top, failed attempts at comedy. Much of the dialogue in this movie is driven by angst on, controversial issues such as religion and government. That would have been okay. Never really progressed the plot, and there was just so much time spent on it that it just set a really ugly tone, and you could just feel like Woody Allen in the background, just like really angry about religion, government, and it was just, some of it was just really unnecessary. You know, the whole film has a really ugly tone. The stupid, annoying characters, the creepy relationship between Larry David and Evan Rachel Wood, and the angst-driven dialogue all puts a very unlikable quality to this film. I just felt really annoyed with it, and I just really wanted it to end. The story is really light and simple, the story that's there, and you know, same with the message it attempts to often preach, which is, you know, the title, Whatever Works. And, you know, I don't really understand it either. I feel that there is going to be an audience that will enjoy this movie. You know, I've heard actually a lot of people say they really like it, which I really don't understand. So it's obvious that some people are going to like this movie. But for me, I was just really happy when it is over. I wasn't happy because I liked it and it put me in a good mood, but I was just really happy that I didn't have to watch any more of it. I hated this movie. I really did. But, you know, as quality filmmaking goes, it doesn't do everything wrong. It's not a horrendous movie, but just for me, I just really didn't like it at all. I thought it was a really stupid, ugly movie, and I just can't recommend it. I'm gonna give Whatever Works a 3.5 out of 10. That's a 5.5 out of 10 for Orphan and a 3.5 out of 10 for Whatever Works.